Well, hello there, everybody out there on YouTube land. I'm basically recording a video, and I haven't done one for a few days or whatever. And this is going to be something about comedy, because basically I love comedy, and it spurred me on because I was watching Channel 4 earlier, and Peter Kay was on again with one of his live shows, and I don't know how many he's filmed or how many DVDs have come out, but I know there's been a few that have been put on the TV a few times, and he makes me laugh all the time. And one of the things about comedy is that some comedians can do like a worldwide gig, but I think Peter Kay is very British to me, and I don't think he would ever work if he ever went to somewhere like America. It'd be like if you went to America as an example, and let's imagine they've got a show going on and they want to showcase something like 20 comedians worldwide. They might have, say, 5 comedians that are American, because they want to showcase the world talent, and they might think, we've got to pick about 7 or 8 comedians that come from, say, the UK. None of them, I don't think, would ever be Peter Kay, because I always think that if you watch Peter Kay live, he says a lot of things that are generally in reference to the UK, like the jokes about when you go to Spain and you find Cadbury's chocolate, and you sort of think you think back to basically being in England, or when he tells jokes about school and you got Bullseye, he tells jokes about Bullseye, and he talks about school discos, and he talks about Granger and various different. I think he talks about Granger. I'm sure he has done before, and he talks about these basic things. Butlins, that's what he talks about, holiday camps and things like that. And it will always be that you sort of get to that stage where the Americans will be like, I haven't got a clue about Butlins, I haven't got a clue about Bullseye, I haven't got a clue about these things, and therefore I don't think it would work. So you would generally get the sense that it would not basically appeal to the American audience. But there are some British comedians who can probably go over there and they can tell jokes, and the Americans would get them. They might think that there is a little bit of British humour in it, but they would be able to know a little bit about them, because they're not generally British based. You know, they can tell a joke and it could be aimed at, say, Americans, it could be aimed at whatever country in the world, and that's basically it. And I am actually filming this at night, if you are basically wondering. It's just something that I film my videos at all different times of day. So sometimes they're at night, and it might not always be good quality, but at least I'm doing a video regardless of what the time is. And this one is a little bit about comedy. I'm not quite sure if I've actually done one about comedy. I know I've probably mentioned it a few times before, but I'm very much into comedy. I'm into comedy shows, and I'm certainly into stand-up comedy. I haven't actually been to many stand-up comedy shows, usually because I prefer to go to music gigs, but I've not been to many, but I have seen some when I've been on holiday. I've been fortunate enough to see a few of the old stand-up comedians, and that's one of the things that I'd like to discuss a little bit about at the end of this, before I leave, is TV channels really do bug me at times when it comes to showing old programs, or at least programs that could be modern. And it's certain TV channels like Gold. Now, we understand that maybe they don't have the right to show old footage of certain things, or they can't find them, but it bugs me at times, because you'll get wonderful, great comedy that come on, but a lot of it, some of the old stuff I don't always like, you know, like they might show series of Absolutely Fabulous, and I'm thinking, oh god, not again. And they might show old series of things like, I don't know, Birds of a Feather as an example, and it's not something I would literally go and watch, you know. They show, like, Only Fools and Horses a lot, and I don't hate Only Fools and Horses, and I'm not saying it's a bad comedy. I don't normally sit down and think of it as something I would sit down and watch, but these sort of things, these comedies, you know, like from the past, some of them, I don't necessarily sit down and watch them. And the problem I find is that they don't show a lot of the comedies that I like. You know, I would love to see some of the old comedies back on television, but they don't show them, and some of them have probably never been shown for a long, long time. I mean, I've seen people live, like there's programs that were shown in the 80s, like the variety shows. I used to love watching things like Little and Large. Absolutely made me laugh. And something like that would be a show that I'd love to see back. You know, the Little and Large show would be an absolute cracking show that I would love to see back on television. In the same way that I'd love to see, like, Russ Abbots Madhouse. You know, and there was a program in the 80s called Copycats, which was brilliant. And these are the sort of things that I often think, you know, Saturday night, can't we watch some like a real good game show? I know it'd be hard to imagine watching Jim Davison's Generation game show without somebody thinking, he's been caught up in a scandal. But these sort of shows is what I want to watch. I want to watch these shows again because they just really excite me. And yet, we never get to see them. You know, Love Thy Neighbour, a 70s classic sitcom, would be brilliant to show again. But it would be too PC for TV these days. And this is a problem that we have with certain channels. They don't get to show them, you know, like Kenny Everett's show. I was watching the best of Kenny Everett on BBC4, and it was hilarious. It was brilliant. You know, Benny Hill's show. Things like this is basically what I want to watch. I've probably never seen all the series of some of these shows, and I would love to see them again, but I can't always watch them. You know, if I can buy the DVDs and see them on DVDs, fair enough. But not all of them are available on DVD, but they would be brilliant to watch. You know, these programs again. Dig them out of the archive, stick them on TV, but they don't. And sometimes what happens is they show the same old comedies all the time. They always sort of have this thing about they stop showing them for a while and then they bring them back. It's like Dad's Army will always get shown, Blackadder and things like that. You know, they're going to show Only Fools and Horses all the time. And then they bring these new programs in every so often and say, brand new to gold. And then you think, Mrs. Brown's Boys, and you think it's very new. You know, it's been going for like 3 series. It probably started about 2, 3, 4, a couple of years ago. What is the old point? Why do we even want to see that? You know, why can't you show that in about 10 years' time when they've done a few episodes? You know, why don't, you know, they look at some of the great shows from the past, particularly in the 70s, late 70s at least, and the 80s, and probably even up to the mid 90s. You know, Freddie Starr did some wonderful shows as well, and it'd be lovely to watch. I'd love to see them, and it'd be like, oh man, that would just be brilliant, eh? To have them back again on the TV, reruns of them in full, and I would sit down there and I would watch them. Just amazing, because it's a comedy that I like. So that was just my view, you know, some comedies that I like in the past and that I'd like to see them come back. And obviously, stand-up comedians, I could give you a list of who I like, but the main few that I really love in stand-up comedy is Russell Howard. Lots of toilet humour. I love the show Russell Howard's Good News, but yeah, I love Russell Howard. He always makes me laugh. Absolutely classic comedian. I love Les Dennis, obviously, in the past. When it comes to comedians, I love Peter Kay, as I've said before, and Alan Carr. No question about it. These comedians, you know, before they even tell a joke, I am laughing because I know they're going to tell a good joke, and they're the comedians that I like. Anyway, keep watching because I've got more videos to come soon, and bye for now.